Game resumed.
Okay, and we are into our first game of this second series. It is going to be University of Maryland College Park, I believe, versus Ohio State University. I've not gone insane. Spawning up in the top right for College Park, it is going to be Aiden and his opponent, the Blue Zerg, over in the top left. And this is a horrible map, but the two will play nonetheless.
all Zergs, all Zergs really hate this map in the TVZ. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. We'll admit it. All right, guys. So we're gonna be joining our second series. Welcome in if you guys are just tuning in, wherever you guys were watching. If you guys just got home from school, got a little bit of a round of 8 action going on from our third qualifier from the CSL. We got University of Maryland College Park, of course, located down in Maryland. We got Ohio State, located in Ohio, the Ohio State, that one and only, the Buckeyes. TVZ on Star Station as we see it happening. Definitely already, you could say from the beginning of the game, just because of this map, it definitely goes in favor of Terran. With a lot of airspace, drops are very strong. Generally, we do see some sort of bio-style plays. But before we do continue, let me remind you guys, be sure to join us in raidcall.com, group ID 1111. That's where we are at. That's where we're going to be doing our post-stream Q&A with some of our players, coordinators, and others from the action that we saw today. So be sure to join that, as well as big shout-outs to NCIX and MSI as well. Doing a couple contests right now with them, and also we got a event coming up this weekend, man, over in Japan.
Yes, Sakura Land Complex, which is going to be absolutely awesome. I believe we're going to be casting that, but I'm not too sure what the broadcasting times are looking like just yet. We will obviously be posting more information about that as soon as it becomes available to us.
Esports in Japan, man. Collegian. Actually, did you see something? There was somebody from Sydney yesterday at the GSL was like giving a shout out to the collegiate leagues.
Oh, really?
Sick. Yeah, no, like if you get a chance, like rewatch over, there was somebody in the crowd. There was actually like 3 people from Sydney, and they were just like, "Shout out to Collegiate Esports." I'm just like, "Oh, I blushed." I'm like, "That's us, man. That's us."
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't know anyone in Australia watched American college esports, but apparently they do. That's kind of cool.
I mean, technically, they did participate. What was it?
Yeah, they all
last season, so we did.
Or the
have
Asia
some,
ones.
Yeah, some of our quote-unquote oceanic schools.
That ended up playing on Korean servers, because
Yes.
that's always fun.
Yeah. Well, as the game continues on, guys, nothing really too crazy. It looks like Kawhi went with the Reaper, gas first Reaper opener into... Oh, no, never mind. He got a Marine. Sorry about that. Got a Marine, put a supply depot down, and then put down his expansive, playing it a little bit safer. First getting the supply depot down, getting the gas early, and as well getting the factory as well. That way he could be a little bit safer, just in case. And on this map, especially with all positions opened up, we see different styles from Zergs. They could actually be very aggressive. I've seen a lot of actually 7 roach rushes on this map. Just because especially of the potential threat from close position as they are right now.
Yeah, imagine if they had a mothership core to back that up. Yeah, I mean, at this stage, this is just kind of like he doesn't really have. Well, Kippy doesn't really have enough scouting information to go for a safe third base. I guess he does see the buildings on the low ground and probably does. Well, once he sees someone mining, I don't think he's actually got sight of the second CC yet. Yeah. Even though he's got the Overlord in kind of that nice position, it's not giving him vision.
And look at that, both just chilling right there, the SCV and the drone hanging out over there. Just, oh, you want to see this watchtower too, but then Link's come and support the SCV. He's just like, oh, I just wanted to get a little bit of vision. No. Gets completely eaten apart. So Aiden gonna have to be a little bit cautious, but he already has the bunker at the front. He does have a Marine as well, and he's going right for Widow Mine, so he's gonna be very defensive about this. I like it. Adding a starport as well, which adds a potential threat to Kippy very quick if he doesn't have a lot of anti-air. There's potential drops for Widow Mines and Bio as well, so I'm interested to see what he exactly decides to do with those.
Well, yeah, he did actually get the scouting information he needed, obviously, that he wasn't getting provided by the Overlord. Probably wants to keep that Overlord for a later stage in the game, when it's going to be much more difficult to get around the Terran base to get those scouts. Yeah.
Well, if you guys don't know too much about Aiden, Aiden is one of their top players for UMCP for Maryland College Park. He was actually a couple of weeks ago was my game of the qualifier person, but unfortunately he was on the wrong end of it against one of the Berkeley players. I think it was Fan, and oh look at that man, he actually decides to cancel that, showing as if he might have gone into Banshee, but cancels the tech lab right there and going to go straight into medevac, man, into the drop. Oh, so smart.
Either that or he's just like, maybe a bit indecisive. It would be so cool if he just turned around and said, actually, the reason I cancelled it was because I made a mistake. I don't know, I would think that's awesome. I'm probably the only one. The Widow Mines in the back probably just going to be burrowed to keep the vision not available. That will obviously make it a lot easier for the medevacs to go drop them inside the third base, or the second base, but with that Spore Crawler, it's going to be a little difficult to do any of that because vision is obviously being granted. Maybe he can do some nice plays around it, try and get the drones to run away, and then pick them off.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, just because there's a Spore Crawler there doesn't mean that they can't do any damage. He could still drop them in. He could still actually utilize them to plant them and then get them out of there. Like I've seen a lot of Terrans who actually just plant them, try to get a hit off of them, and then just lift them back up and get them out of there. So
it might have been an idea to chuck it up on the high ground, to be honest.
Yeah.
Just so you get.
Well, he's already got one on the low ground right there. Was able to kill one drone off right there. He's trying to control it very carefully. Doesn't want to throw away units for free. And I really like this how he has this placed out. He's got one right outside, kind of outside the main. I mean, outside of the natural right there place. He's got one right near the third mineral line as well. And then he's still got those two right there with the medevac working it with him. So smart.
I love it. Dropping them to take out the Overlord. It's such a nice play. But it looks like I'm kind of surprised that he chose to go for Lings, and then went for this Evo Bay like choke point, because generally speaking you want to put you'd want to be going Roaches or something that can really benefit from having a nice concave or even doing some surrounding, as opposed to Lings, which aren't really going to be working too nicely with the choke coming through.
Well, the biggest problem until you get a really nice count of Lings and Banes, and it's not even guaranteed, is when a Terran does decide to push with biomines, you're typically not gonna be able to trade too efficiently. Like in this scenario like this, where we're seeing Kippy bait out some of the Widow Mines just with one Ling, that's nice. But in an engagement scenario, when you don't have time just to bait out single Lings for Widow Mines, you're gonna have a little bit of a tough time trading. And here we go, tries to get a little bit of a scout off, but Widow Mine gets that Ling before it's able to run over there.
Well, third CC is ready. It hasn't yet flown over to the base to be plopped down and start mining. That being said, he is doing a nice job of saturating. It has got nice Viking control. I really like this move, just to make sure that there's no Overlords getting any additional scouting information at all.
Yeah, nothing also, really too crazy.
I mean, I guess it would help when he comes into meter play if that comes apparent. But doesn't look like it's going to be the case at this stage. He's just going for a really... is he even using the lair tech for anything at this stage? Has he got...
Not that I'm really
aware of. Okay, that'll be why.
Oh, wow, he's actually going to go drop? Yeah, it looks like he's going to go drop. Does he have Carapace upgrade for his Overlords, or is he just going to bait out fire shots and mines with the Overlords?
He has Carapace.
He does have Carapace. I mean, what's the upgrade for the Zerg lift, for the drop?
Zerg lift?
Yeah, we're just going to call it Zerg. We're going to call it the Zerg lift, you know, upgrade. Alright, there we go. Going for the Banelings, but those are slow Banelings. Those bad boys are crawling over. Those are not rolling. And a lot of them get killed before they're actually able to utilize. This is actually not too bad of a timing from Kippy. He gets a lot of Lings out. A lot of that saturation within the natural is completely vulnerable. Tries to break down that supply depot, and actually does right there with that last Ling. And look at this. So many of the Speedlings getting on in there, but I feel as though maybe the DPS for the Terran is a little bit too high. The tanks are sieged up, so a lot of these Lings are taking a lot of splash damage. And finally, there we go. Kippy is able to clear out. This is actually beautiful. Look at how Aiden is able to keep a lot of those SCVs alive. Just lifts them up in the medevac. And oh, you saw that too, didn't you, man? Oh,
yes.
It just keeps happening, man. Just like over and over again. How many times already has that mine gone off, man? 21 kills already on that mine. Just over and over and over again. Like, this is that point where sometimes Zerg players just forget about the mine and like keep running over it and don't realize until like 30 minutes into the game.
Well, I mean... it was obviously a devastating attack to a degree. I think the biggest part of it, though, was the fact that he removed so many supply depots. Because obviously, Now, Aiden, on the verge of being supplied blocked again and trying to get those walls in place, is now mining from the third, but should be able to get his SCVs up fairly quickly. It's currently 49 SCVs, actually ahead in
Oh
work
yeah, no doubt. I mean, look at it. You can look at the
46.
supply, 98 to 64 right now. Aiden's way far ahead, and now he's even gunning for some of the overseers with the Viking. Was able to even take another Overlord out. Now, these bad boys, I can't figure out what some of these SCVs are doing over here that walked away from the third. Maybe there was a bailing hit or something that forced them away, but at this point, with 3-base saturation that Aiden has, and I mean, with triple mule, with SCVs at 53, he's going to be able to produce really, really efficiently, and probably we're going to see a timing attack here within about a minute where he pushes out once he gets a couple more tanks, maybe gets a couple additional Widow Mines, even though I don't see them in production at the moment. Doesn't look like they are.
Well, he has gone for the Spire, so obviously that's, well, he might be going Muta, I guess. That's pretty much it. What else do you want to say about it? Muta to try and pick up all those siege tanks on the high ground. Maybe that'll make another bailing attack connect and do some damage. But at this stage, with the fact that he knows there's Vikings in the field, I feel as though Kippy's going to be fairly well prepared for this, because he's going to be looking at this army and thinking to himself, well, there's not really any gas being invested here, so I'm wondering what he's doing with these massive gas bank.
Yeah, look at this, man. Over at the third, doing a pretty good job, dealing a lot of damage to a lot of those SCVs, but already drops coming on in there. Drop over at the natural, doing a lot of damage, able to take out the queen, and now focusing down some of the drones. Third drop coming over here at the third location. And yeah, GG coming from Kippy. That's unfortunate.
Oh.
That's unfortunate, man. Life of a Zerg. It's not always
Yeah,
the best.
He was trying to get in before that timing of having those medevacs, buzzing around and trying to snipe bases and snipe workers, but wasn't really able to secure it and have that heavy win that he needed to.
Well, it's good to see. I mean, for Aiden, again, he hasn't had always the best runs in the CSL. He's actually been pinned up against a lot of tough opponents. Lost kind of a couple silly matches, so it's good to see, man, just to get a win in general. That really gets the confidence up of the team, the player, and hopefully they could ride that streak against Ohio State. But to do that, they're going to have to continue in game number 2, which is going to be coming up here really soon, guys. So don't go anywhere after a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with Ohio State and Maryland College Park.